Oke, mulai.
Halo semua, selamat malam. Good evening, Eoghan. So we already have 16 participants here. Kita udah ada 16 orang. Sama seperti yang sebelumnya ya, teman-teman ya. Kita sengaja nggak nyalain mikrofonnya supaya nanti Eoghan ngomong dulu. Kalau ada apa-apa, bisa langsung angkat tangan atau di chat. Aku juga sama Irham lihat chatnya ya. Nah, sekarang pertanyaannya adalah, apakah rekan-rekan memerlukan penerjemahan secara langsung atau biar Eoghan ngomong aja langsung? Coba tolong dijawab di chat dulu ya. So, I'm asking them whether they need translation or not, ya.
Okay.
Bisa tolong direspons di chat, kira-kira nice t-shirt. Tolong Mas Agus jangan promosi dulu ya. Kira-kira ada yang butuh nggak penerjemahan? Kalau oke, kalau iya, aku akan terjemahin. Jadi Oke, boleh. Yang lain gimana? Jadi nanti in between slide dia berhenti dulu. Aku sebisa mungkin menjelaskan. Piye? Maunya yang mana? Jalan langsung. Butuh ya? Oke. Yunus sama Dian. Yang lain oke. Oke, apaan Farid? Oke, langsung apa oke translasi? Oke. I think so you can present and then have a brief moment for me to just summarize. I promise that I will not make a joke tonight.
Everybody's going to be disappointed now.
Oh, nggak bisa. Okay, so you can start from now.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, well, thank you very much. It's great to see so many people. And I will go straight into this deck. It's going to be about archiving and saving things that we find online. And let me just turn on the screen share here so that everybody can actually see the slides. So just let me know. Are you seeing the slide deck now, Ratna?
Oke, semua bisa lihat ya. Jadi sekarang dia udah share ke kita slide deck-nya yang dia siapin. Oke, Eoghan, please continue.
So you can see the cover slide now that says archiving, yes?
Yes, semua bisa lihat ya. Oke, cool.
Okay, so we know that looking for things online, a lot of the time you can go back and find them later, but sometimes when you go back to find something that you're reporting about, you'll find that it has disappeared. It's no longer there. So online content, there is no guarantee it will always be there.
Oke, sip. Pokoknya intinya, jadi kadang-kadang udah selesai ngerjain terus hilang. Jadi konten online itu tidak selalu menjamin bahwa dia akan ada terus di situ. Okay, please go.
So what are the reasons why something might disappear? Well, it could be somebody posts something that they think was bad for them or that they're embarrassed about. It could be because of legal considerations. So, for example, there could be legal action or the risk of legal action. I'll let you explain those first two, Ratna.
I think you can go on with the list, and then I will.
So the third one that is that it could contravene the policies or the terms of service of the platform on which it's posted. For example, copyright, intellectual property rights. Then it could be due to technical factors. The website it's on could go offline. There could be technical failure, bankruptcy, or whatever. And finally, one that's become more common in the last few years is deliberate targeting. So it could be the subject of attacks, reporting, complaints by groups or individuals who don't want it to exist.
Ya, kenapa bisa hilang macam-macam, misalnya karena ada kalau dia malu, jadi dia bisa hilangkan konten itu. Legal consideration ya, ada urusan-urusan hukum, jadi udah nggak bisa lagi dipasang. Perubahan kebijakan dari platform tersebut. Lalu misalnya yang berikutnya adalah technical problem, masalah-masalah teknis sehingga akhirnya situsnya itu sudah tidak dapat diakses menjadi offline. Atau sebaliknya, hal yang lain adalah karena memang situs tersebut ditargetkan menjadi target sehingga terkena serangan sehingga tidak bisa lagi diakses.
So what kind of things might you need to save that you see online? Well, it could be a news report or article. It could be a blog post, maybe a social media post, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever else. Or it could be a whole web page and including cached instances, because as we know, sometimes you can find a cached web page, but that can be subject to time. As time goes by, cached versions can disappear or be replaced.
Ya, apa aja sih yang penting untuk disimpan? Report ya, laporan, posting blog, posting sosial media, website termasuk cache. Aduh, jelek banget pronunciation gue. Tapi itu intinya adalah karena nggak mesti si cache itu ada terus di situ. Kalau sesuai dengan berjalannya waktu, dia juga bisa hilang.
So suppose, for example, you come across something controversial that's been posted online by a public figure. And for example, here's me saying something controversial on Twitter. Now, one way you could preserve it, when you do find something controversial, your first instinct should be to preserve it. One way you could do this is take a screen capture. That gives you a visual snapshot.
Nah, misalnya, kalau udah lihat sesuatu yang kontroversial, dalam hal ini misalnya Owen mencontohkan, dia men-tweet sesuatu yang kontroversial. Itu udah harus di-preserve ya, udah harus disimpan. Caranya adalah, salah satunya misalnya yang paling gampang adalah dengan membuat screen capture.
And I'm sure most of you know screen grabs are okay and they're easy to do. So if you're on a Mac, you use this keyboard shortcut. Or if you're on Windows, you have snipping tool. I think that's being replaced now. They have a new tool called Snip and Sketch.
Ini caranya macam-macam ya. Tapi kalau pakai Mac bisa pakai Command Shift sama huruf 4. Lalu kalau pakai Windows itu ada snipping tools dan juga ada so it's been replaced by what is the name again?
It's called Snip and Sketch. So you can annotate or edit.
Snip and Sketch.
Yes. Okay. So here's, for example, if I had posted that and then this news organization said, Owen posted something controversial on Twitter today. He has deleted it, but we have a screenshot to prove it.
Jadi, kalaupun si subjek itu sudah menghapus, kalian tetap punya buktinya karena kalian sudah menyimpannya.
However, the problem with a screenshot is that it's a graphic. And as we know, graphics can be easily manipulated with Photoshop or whatever other program. So in this case, I could have got back and said, I didn't post that tweet. The proof that you have there is a manipulated graphic. And I'm going to sue you and get lots of money from you.
Oke, tapi kelemahannya itu kan screenshot sama screen grab itu kan bentuknya JPEG image ya. Nanti bisa jadi si subjek itu balik lagi ke kalian bilang, ini mah bohong-bohongan, tipu-tipu. Aku nggak pernah kok nulis kayak gitu. Aku bakal tuntut kamu dan aku bisa dapat uang banyak dari situ.
So it's very easy for somebody to accuse you of manipulating an image, and it's more difficult to prove that you have not done that.
Jadi makin sulit kalian untuk bilang bahwa kalian itu nggak memanipulasi si screen capture yang sudah kalian buat sebelumnya.
So screen grabs are okay, and I would say yes, fine, use them, but it's essential to archive anything of this nature.
Jadi kalau melihat risikonya di screen grab memang oke, tapi menyimpan arsip atau archiving ini tetap esensial banget.
So archiving will give you a permanent record. It gives you a preserved version of the content, including metadata that shows where and when it originally existed.
Jadi si archiving ini untuk memiliki record yang permanen ya, termasuk menyediakan informasi mengenai kapan itu disimpan, konten tersebut disimpan.
So there are a number of popular free archiving services, and the three that I will go into today are the Internet Archive, Archive Today, and Web Recorder.
Nah, caranya banyak banget, bisa pakai, sorry, ada tiga tools yang aplikasi kayaknya ya, yang bisa digunakan, dan ini free.
Now I'll go through the differences between them because there are subtle differences, and for some people it just comes down to personal preference. People prefer to use different ones, but it's worthwhile getting familiar with each of them. So first we look at... Yeah, go ahead.
Yang pertama web machine. Continue on.
Okay, so probably the best known of the online archives is the Internet Archive. It was founded way back in 1996, and in 2001 it launched what it calls the Wayback Machine, especially for archiving online content. Most of its archives come from an automated web crawler, but it also allows the public to create archives.
Jadi pertama adalah Internet Archive di tahun 1996. Mereka punya namanya Wayback Machine. Ini secara otomatis menyimpan konten yang di-crawl di internet.
So when you go to the online archiving section, you go to web.archive.org and you get a page that looks like this. Now, the first thing you'll notice over on the left here is that there are tools, including a Chrome extension and a Firefox add-on, and also a Safari extension, and some apps. So these make it quite comfortable and easy to use. On the other side of the page, you will see this section. If you don't want to use the browser extensions, just from the home page, you can use this section that says Save Page Now.
Sorry, I'm having problem because they say my voice is like a robot. So I got distracted. Halo, jadi nggak kedengeran ya suara gue ya? Sorry, Owen.
No problem.
I think you can go on with the putus. Okay, so I think you can just go with your presentation because apparently they cannot hear my voice due to my signal.
I'll try to be as clear and as slow as I can, and at the end of this I will be giving you guys this full deck, and it does have speaker notes also, so you'll probably be able to translate that later, so don't get too stressed. So when you go to the Save Page Now section, you see a place there where you can put in a URL. And one of the good things about Wayback Machine is that you can create your own account. If you look up at the top right, you can see in this case, I'm logged into my account. Now, if you are logged in, then when you put in a URL here to save it, you get the option to save it to your online web archive. So this keeps things in order for you. It keeps anything that you save and anything that you archive. But you have to create an account and be logged into it to do this. Accounts are free, so you don't have to worry about that. So then if you want to later see all the things that you have added, you just go to the drop-down menu and you see where it says My Web Archive. And if you go there, it will show you all the things that you have saved and archived. Now, it's not great. It doesn't have a search function. It doesn't allow you to tag, or it doesn't allow you to create folders or to rearrange things. But you can sort in a quite basic way. You can see views, title, date archived, and so on. You also have over on the right of that bar, you can look at it like these kind of squares here, or you can just have line after line of each thing that you have archived. But it's worth creating an account and playing around with this yourself. You can see up higher on the top right where it says settings and edit. So you can remove things also if you think you don't need them anymore. And you can just go from this, directly from this section, hit the plus, and that would allow you to put in another URL and save it. The browser extensions are very useful. They make it much quicker and more easy and more efficient. And you can see here I've got the ones for Chrome and the one for Firefox. When you install that extension, this will appear at the top of your browser in the toolbar, this little square with the archive logo. When you click on that, you get a drop down, and the one really that we're interested in here is the Save Page Now function, because that saves it immediately without having to copy and paste the URL anywhere else. Then when you do that, you'll get a page that looks like this. Now, if you want to, for example, keep a record yourself, like in a spreadsheet or a document, just be aware that you can see two URLs at the top there. It's the one at the very top that you want to save, because the one below that is the original URL of the original tweet. The one above is the archived version. Also, it's not obvious when you're looking at it here, but if you see on the top right, that little symbol, if you click on that, that adds this to your web archive so that you can then go back into your account and see this link that you have archived anytime. So just to summarize on Wayback Machine, the strengths of it are that it's been around for a long time, it's reliable, it's not going to go anywhere, it's not going away. You have the online account, which helps you to organize anything you archive, and you have the browser extensions that make things easy. Weaknesses that it has, one that I've found is it does not tend to work well with Facebook. It doesn't save Facebook posts reliably. Occasionally maybe it works, very often it doesn't. And there's no easy way to download the things you have archived. Now, the reason this is relevant is that even if something has been archived in Web Archive or Wayback Machine, if somebody files DCMA, a takedown request, they will go along with that, and they will remove content even if it has been archived. So when you archive something on this platform, that does not guarantee it will be there forever. If somebody does legally demand that it's removed, it probably will be removed. So this is one of the reasons I like a couple of the other services we're looking at, because you can download your archives. So I'm going to move on and look at Archive Today. This is available at a number of URLs. That's the one I use. It generally redirects to archive.fo or archive.is. It's very useful. It doesn't look as professional as Web Archive, but sometimes it works better than it. Particularly for, as I said, Facebook. And I know, for example, Bellingcat, a lot of you will be aware of Bellingcat. And of course, a lot of the content that they deal with gets removed quite quickly and disappears. One of the guys from Bellingcat I was speaking to the other day said they use this for everything. They use Archive Today all the time. One small drawback of it is that it's not possible on this service to create an account. So that means you have to take responsibility yourself for keeping track of your archives. If I were using this, I would probably keep spreadsheets or documents or whatever, and each time you archive something, you just copy the URL and add it in a way that you're able to find it again. It doesn't have a typical browser plugin, but it has what's called a bookmarklet. And you can see that button, the little gray button there. If you just click on that, hold it, and drag it to your bookmarks bar, then any page you're on, you can click on that on the bookmarks bar, and it will add it to Archive Today. Again, once you've done that, like I say, check it and make sure you save that URL somewhere. Excuse me, I have a slight cold. My voice is not that good. So there it is up at the top left there. That's how it appears. And of course, it's very easy. You can right click and edit the text on that to make it take up less space in your bookmarks bar. Now, as well as creating an archive form of the URL, Archive Today creates a screenshot. And it also gives you an option to download a zip file that contains the archive content and all the metadata that goes with it. So this allows you to keep offline versions of your archives, whereas Wayback Machine does not facilitate that. So the things I would say are its strong points. Number one, it's versatile because it will work with Facebook. It will work with pretty much any platform. It also has, as I just mentioned, single-click option to download your archive or to take those screenshots that it gives you. Things I would say are slightly weak about it. You can't create an account, so you can't save online versions or online collections. And also, its funding model is not completely clear. It says it's privately funded, but doesn't give you any more information than that. And that would make me slightly concerned about how long it will last. It's been around for many years, so it's probably okay. But I would be more confident in some of the other services. Now, less people I know have been using Web Recorder. I've been testing it out recently, and I really like it. I think it's a very good service, and I'll go into the reasons why I say that. I'm sorry, I sound like a crow here. So here is the initial screen that you get to with Web Recorder. You can create an account, and in fact, I think it's important to create an account because it gives you access to a lot of very, very good features. So once you create your account, you can see here you have 5 gigabytes of storage allowance. If you get a paid account, which maybe for a company or a large news organization would be quite affordable, you get up to 40 gigabytes of storage space. As you see then, you can create collections and you can manage them, you can delete things from them, do all kinds of things. So it's a very powerful tool compared to the other ones. In this case, you'll see where I've gone to an Instagram video, and up at the top left where it says capturing, when you click on that button, that starts, and it starts to capture whatever is on your screen. However, what's really great about this is a function you can see on the top right, like a magic wand, and it says autopilot. But this is an extremely good. Yes?
I think the picture is still showing the previous slide.
Okay.
Are you in Instagram now, showing us how to do the?
You should be seeing Web Recorder, but with Instagram.
No, the slide is still in Archive today, and the strengths and weaknesses that they have.
Okay, let me go back and just. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll stop the sharing for a moment and start it again, see if that works. Just a moment, sorry. So are you seeing Web Recorder now?
Yes, the Web Recorder now. So the blank page with the web recorder in the middle.
Okay, so I'll just run quickly through these again. So this is the first screen you would come to. When you create an account, which is free, you get this. You see the drop down. Can you see the drop down menu on the right?
Yes, on the right, the drop down menu, you can see that.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, sign in. So that shows you how much space you've used of your 5 gigabyte allowance. And as I say, if you have a paid account, that goes up to 40 gigabytes. So here is the section where it shows that you can create folders and customize these folders in whatever way you want. And you can see there's a section here where it says new capture. You put in the URL there and you hit the blue button that says start capture. So in this case, it's saving an Instagram video. And on the top left where it says capturing, you will see the progress there. It will show you how many kilobytes or megabytes of information have been captured. And when that stops, you just hit stop and it goes into your archive. Now, this autopilot function is a really, really good thing because you can set it to automatically capture a whole lot of information. And for example, I'm going to show you a video here. This is what happened when I went to an Instagram account, not a single Instagram post, but an Instagram account. So for example, suppose somebody you were interested in has posted a whole lot of pictures and videos on their Instagram. Maybe this person, you might think they're extremist or spreading disinformation or whatever. So you put the address of their Instagram account into Web Recorder, and then you go to Autopilot, and this is what it does. Now you can see what it's doing there. It's going into each post one by one. It's saving the full post, including if there's video, but it's also saving the comments. So it's going through them all one by one. I'm not doing anything there. It's automatically scrolling and going through the posts and saving the posts and the comments. So it's a very, very useful feature. It allows you to capture a lot of information, and it will continue to scroll like that until you click on End Autopilot. I'll let it keep going just for the last 10 or 15 seconds. And there you are. It's captured a whole lot of information. So what you get then is unfortunately very busy looking. It saves each of them as an individual piece of information, an individual entry. So as I said, you can create collections in this. So if you're going to capture an entire, for example, Instagram account, you should probably set up a dedicated collection, a specific collection for that. Now, when you're doing something like that, you can end up with a lot of information, a lot of storage space being used up. But one of the good things about this is it allows you to download your collections. So as you see on the left there, you have options, and one of them is download collection. So it downloads that entire collection to your own desktop. The download is created as a WARC file, W-A-R-C file. You can see the file ending on this. That is an accepted standard for web archive storage, and you probably don't have anything on your computer at the moment that can read it. So you may think, what's the point of me downloading this? Well, a reader program can be downloaded for free. If you go to this github.com/web recorder, and you'll see on the right there you have the web recorder player. So if you do download a large archive, also download this program, web recorder player, and that will then allow you to go back in and look at the files. I know that with my iMac is quite old, and it had an older version of the OS on it, and the web recorder player didn't work initially. So I updated to the latest version of the Mac OS, and now it works fine. There is also the one on the left there, web recorder, where this is an entirely desktop-based version of web recorder, so you can do your archiving through that. But I find it a little complicated. I think the online one is much easier, but certainly it's a good idea to have the web recorder player. So the strong points of web recorder is that it's very comprehensive. The autopilot function is fantastic. The online account, it's very easy to organize things and put them in different folders and move things around. It's very securely funded. It's funded by two large nonprofits. The Knight Foundation is one. I can't remember what the other one is, but I'll get back to you on that. And you can also download things. So if you do find that you're getting near to your 4 gigabyte storage and you want to archive a whole lot more stuff, you can always download what you've got and delete it from the online account. The weaknesses, which I don't think are big weaknesses, it's a little bit more to learn compared to Wayback Machine or Archive Today, but it's worth the effort and it's not terribly difficult. If you want to download or if you want to view offline, you need special software. But as I said, that software is free. And in my experience from testing it up to now, it's very easy to operate and it works very well. Now, one of the things I will say about online archiving, like so many things in the OSINT world, it won't always work. And we know that we have so many tools that we like and that we love to use, and some days we go to use them and they don't work. Now, unfortunately, that's unavoidable and it will always happen. Why? Because the platforms, we had the big problem with Facebook recently. Facebook changed their API and a whole lot of the tools that we know and love simply stopped working. This is always going to be a problem. And on top of that, for archiving, a problem is, as I say here, deliberate blocking of archiving by webmasters. Webmaster, that's a great 1990s word. Maybe I should say website creators or whatever. But they can block their sites from being archived. Some of you with some tech experience may be aware of what's called the robots.txt file. Websites have this file included. It's not generally open on the web, but you can find it on any website by just putting /robots.txt at the end of the homepage URL. In this case, this is the robots page for Intel Techniques. And you can see one of the things that's specified there. It says user agent archive.org bot disallowed. Now what that does is when the archive.org web crawler goes to Intel Techniques, the first thing it checks out is the robots.txt page. And it sees this instruction and it doesn't archive it and it moves on. And if you try to archive it on the Wayback Machine, this is what you get. And you can see it says, sorry, this URL has been excluded from the Wayback Machine. I'll go into robots.txt pages in more detail later because there are other important things about them. I won't be talking about it today, but it can affect searches and search engines also. Again, I tried the same Intel Techniques page. I tried it with Archive Today, and this is what I got. Now, Archive Today said that its crawlers do not obey robots.txt pages, but this is what I got. So I went on again, and I tried it with Web Recorder, and it succeeded. And as you can see, here is the page from Intel Techniques archived in Web Recorder. So I would say with these, be versatile. First of all, though, when you archive a piece of content or a page or anything else, check immediately that it has actually worked. Go to the archive, open the archive, and see that it has done what you expected it to do. Also, be familiar with more than one service. Try to, when you get time, have a little play around with Wayback Machine, with Archive Today, and with Web Recorder. And if you then try to archive something and it doesn't work, be prepared to try one of the others. We've had this kind of thing over and over again where, you had people find Thor didn't work, we try using Intel Techniques. Now Intel Techniques is gone behind a paywall, so we try other tools. It's very important to try to be aware of more than one tool that does the same thing, because some of them will work in one situation, others may work in another situation. And like any craftsman, you need to find the tool that will do the job for you. Now, I want to talk just a little bit about preserving video, because this can be quite controversial. When can you download a video and save it for yourself? People very often say, well, with the platforms, it's not clear and there are gray areas. With YouTube, it's very clear. And if you're a user of YouTube, they say you are not allowed to download. So they're very clear on that. However, for journalists, a lot of the time, it's quite easy to find justifications for ignoring that. And I think many of those, if it ever did turn out with you being brought to court, would stand quite strongly for you as long as you were observing best practices. Now, please, anything I tell you today, it's not legal advice. I'm not a media lawyer, but I've talked to a lot of people in some of the biggest news organizations, and they're quite adamant that there are situations in which they feel perfectly justified in downloading from YouTube and other platforms. Here's a case from a few years ago where YouTube suddenly removed a whole lot of videos that showed massacres or attacks on protesters or other things like that from YouTube in Syria. Facebook also, excuse me for just a moment, I have to open the door. Sorry. 30 seconds.
Bel rumahnya bunyi, jadi dia harus bel apa handphone apa telepon bunyi ya. Oke, roti. Jadi ya sekarang masuk tadi udah semua ya. Jadi bagaimana caranya menyimpan konten sehingga nanti kalau misalnya sesuatu terjadi yang punya situs tersebut menghapus, kita masih punya backup. Ya, ada beberapa tools tadi yang sudah dia Adi yang sudah dia jelaskan. Selagi-lagi dalam proses dibangkit ada satu strategi yang bisa yang paling coba. Misalnya pakai
Okay, I'm back. Ratna, you still sound like a robot. So just let me check. Is my sound okay? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Excellent. Okay. So apologies for that. Just somebody at the door. So I mentioned YouTube removing all these videos. Now here was another case where Facebook deleted a whole lot of posts. And this one in particular was from a group called Article 19, which was creating reports on alleged human rights abuses. Now, Facebook admitted that it was wrong to have done this, and its explanation as to why it did so, the Guardian newspaper approached them, and it said that this was removed after being reported. And it says, we assess such reports manually, and because of the high volume, meaning the many, many reports it got about this, occasionally content is removed by mistake. Now, this goes back to what I said almost right at the beginning, where you have cases where people with an interest or people with an agenda use the system and they deliberately target videos or posts or other things so that they will trigger takedowns by the platforms. This is something that has gone on over and over again. I remember the first time we saw it happen was about 6 or 7 years ago, reporting on Syria. And there was a government-linked group who called themselves the Syrian Electronic Army. And they were actually bragging openly, saying, we're getting all these Facebook pages taken down. So if the platforms themselves are open to being abused and misused in this way, then it's quite difficult for them to say to you that you cannot archive content. I also talked to one of my former colleagues in Storyful, who deal with probably more of this kind of online content than any newsroom in the world. And they said to me, not just videos and individual posts. The editor there explained to me that sometimes they will download and archive an entire social media account. And their justification for this, because this is difficult in Europe because of the GDPR privacy laws on archiving data and keeping data. But they justified it because they do a lot of investigations of extremist groups and hate groups. And to be able to save the entire Facebook account or Instagram account of somebody helps them to analyze behaviors and to possibly track the development of these hate groups and sometimes even anticipate when they may do something like that again. So a serious journalistic endeavor or media outlet, as long as they're behaving using best practices, will very often be able to convincingly justify saving this kind of information. And one of the things the guy from Facebook said to me, or the guy from Storyful said to me, we know that our journalists behave in a responsible manner, and I will always defend them against any complaints like that. So they were getting backing from the highest levels in their own company. So the arguments in favor of archiving, the strongest ones are, number one, of course, preserving evidence. An old colleague and friend of mine works in the International Criminal Court, and he points out that so much evidence of war crimes and other atrocities is online, and you can't have it just disappear and not be there when it's needed. Then, like I said, sometimes, if you want to look at a video in greater detail, you may need to download it to get a better resolution copy of it and to be able to do things like manipulating it and doing frame by frame and so on. And then, like the one I mentioned with Storyful, looking at people's accounts and investigating patterns to try to figure out what's happening. And these are all strong arguments, I believe. So that's all I have for the moment, but I am here. You can contact me as usual through any of these ways. And I'm also available for quite a while now if anybody has any specific questions. So please don't hold back. Now, I'm not sure right now, are you still able to speak?
Ada pertanyaan terutama
I'm not sure about anybody else, but I didn't.
Oh ya, oke.
Maybe if there's an important question, put it into the messaging.
Eoghan?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay,
very
so
well.
the first question is the first question is whether the web recorder is safe for you to put your email when you are logged in.
Safe in what way exactly?
Iwan, maksudnya aman gimana? Lu takut di ini ya? Coba Iwan jawab dulu pertanyaannya. I think sometimes people are, like cautious when they use the free
Okay, yeah.
apps.
Let me just show you something here then. Just share the screen again.
Oh, okay. Also, probably like whether you can guarantee that they will not spread your email
Yeah.
or identification to other parties.
So you can see the screen share there. The people who are funding Web Recorder is the Mellon Foundation and the Knight Foundation. And these are, very, very reputable nonprofit organizations. So I don't think, it's definitely as trustworthy as anything else out there. These are organizations that have been working with media and philanthropy for many years. I would be more trusting of them than many others out there.
Oke, jadi aman ya karena organisasinya terpercaya dan mereka sudah lama melakukan kerja-kerja filantropis, jadi bukan yang ini. Oke, sebentar. Is it also okay for web recorder to try to access your mic and webcam? It's really secure, right?
I couldn't hear that again, Ratna. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Okay.
I couldn't hear you.
So is it also okay? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, it's also okay for them to access to for the user to giving an access to mic and webcam when they try to use the web recorder. It's also safe, right?
I believe it should be. With the backing of those foundations, I'd be very surprised if they're doing anything that's not completely above board. I can't remember what permissions I was asked for when I signed up to it.
Okay.
But with
Okay.
knives behind, I wouldn't worry.
Okay. You can see Agus also, and it's already in English. So you can respond it now.
Yeah, well, that's a completely different subject really to archiving. It's something that you would have to. Let me see. So when they say delete something that archived our data, you would have to approach that through legal channels. You would have to get somebody who knows how to file a legal takedown request. And this is something that I was actually looking at just this morning, where I saw about Wayback Machine, for example. Would they remove things that somebody had archived? Yes, they will if they get an actual legal request to do so. They commit themselves to doing that. But of course, it depends where it has been saved, because it may not be on Web Archive. It could be somewhere else. Just to comment on the thing that Ari has put in there, that Web Archive and archive.fo can't archive YouTube or Instagram. I know they definitely have problems with multimedia stuff. I find Web Recorder works better for those. The thing with YouTube is that's why I was talking about the idea of downloading video, because anything longer than a few seconds of video can be among the most difficult things to archive. Another thing I would say about these platforms is that you may have questions about them that haven't even occurred to you yet. I would certainly say try them out, try using them, and then if you have further questions, to get back to us, because there's something you might not even know you want to ask yet.
Owen, do you want to respond Ika's comment about
The
the
just looking at that.
the
Yeah, indeed. I was just reading that one, and it is correct that they will remove content that contains violence or is reported to be a hoax. That's true. However, part of the problem is that sometimes those reports may not be accurate. So things do disappear from Facebook that maybe shouldn't, and things that should not disappear sometimes do. But I think this is why archiving is important. The Wayback Machine is not good at all at storing Facebook. Archive Today works better, and Web Recorder works better. But it's important, yeah, the difference between things that contain violence or are a hoax, or things that are deliberately reported to be unnecessarily violent or hoaxes by people who are deliberately trying to get them taken down.
So for Facebook, you recommend Web Recorder and
Today, certainly, Wayback Machine has real difficulties with it. I've occasionally succeeded in saving a Facebook post with it, but not often.
ada lagi yang lain yang pernah atau sudah mulai melakukan pengarsipan, misalnya. I do have a question.
Sure.
Sometimes it's getting messy, right? I mean, like if you are debunking things, you just download it and then you just forget that you need to create specific folder to save it. So do you have any suggestion for that? So like, so that people can consistently placing everything in the right place. So when they need to get back, they know where should they, they know where they can be access to all the things that they can store earlier.
Yeah, I think that's largely a matter of figuring out a workflow that works best for you. Some people do it with spreadsheets, others do it with folders, and so on. There is a program called Hunchly, but it's not cheap. It's one that possibly a large news organization might look into. I was actually, during this week, I was thinking about recommending a program called Zotero. The problem is with Zotero is it's a program for organizing archives and organizing information, but the recent changes to Facebook mean it does not work at all with Facebook now, and that would cut out a lot of the important stuff for us. I think it's just a case of trying to be as organized as possible. You know, make sure you have all your URLs, make sure you put them in folders, you tag them, whatever you need to do to keep them organized. And I think there's no special program that will do that for you. It's a question of figuring out what works best for you. I'll just put in the name of the one that's
Okay, is there any specific advice for archiving in mobile phone when you are trying to, like when you probably seeing first thing from the mobile phone and then you wanted to save it as soon as possible?
Yeah, only that it's much more difficult because most of these things only work very effectively on desktop or in browser. You could, for example, with Wayback Machine, it's okay because you can go to web.archive.org and put in a URL. But of course, if it's from Facebook, it's probably not going to work. I think if you think you are going to have situations where you're in the field and something like that happens, it's good to make sure you have the contact of somebody who's in an office or somewhere who has access to a desktop, because things like web recorder will not work well on mobile. So if you have, for example, if you're out somewhere and you see it, you've only got your phone and you see something on Facebook, what do? You can get to Internet Archive on your phone, but you can't save Facebook. You can save Facebook on web recorder, but you can't use it well on your phone. So it's necessary to try to anticipate these kind of problems and figure out a way of getting around them beforehand. I'm sorry, that's not a very helpful answer, but it's the best one I've got. Invid, not yet. I'm waiting. I have been talking to the people behind Invid. They were surprised that it didn't work, but I told them I've tried it by setting my VPN to Indonesia and I have the same problems. So I have contacted them and they have said that they have passed it on to their tech team and they're looking at it at the moment. So as soon as I hear anything back from them, I will tell you guys.
The screen recorder in the mobile phone, Owen.
Yeah.
The apps will ask you a permission to access camera and mic at any time.
Yeah.
So
you have to decide whether you trust the particular app that you're using. Yeah. If it looks like it comes out of China or somewhere, maybe use something different. It's a problem with things with mobile apps that we have no idea a lot of the time what they're doing, and in order to do certain things for you, they need permissions, and very often that will involve being able to enter your file system or to use your microphone or camera or whatever. So I'd be very careful with those.
okay, I'm asking them whether they have the experience to archiving before or they haven't started yet. But Ari, as always, giving a good example that he has doing this, and then he used archive.fo for a while.
Excellent.
Which is good. Excellent, Ari. Okay, Farid asked you a question.
Yeah.
So many apps to download videos in Google search. I often do it. And then he asks what is the difference with the web recorder, whether it's actually more useful for him or he can stick with the previous ways that he did.
I think that's relative. I think web recorder is trustworthy. There are a lot of, if you say, oh, download Facebook video or download YouTube video, whatever, and you put that into Google, you get so many results. The problem is we don't know much about these sites or about who's behind them. a lot of them are serving up lots of ads. I turned off my pop-up blocker, my ad blocker a few days ago and went to one of the sites that I'd been using, and I was amazed how many trackers and ads and things there were on it. So privacy and security are definitely a concern with a lot of these sites. I'm hoping to get together with somebody with more tech experience and tech expertise and see if we can specify a few of these that are trustworthy, but they're tough. I'm very worried about just going to some site that promises to give you a great download experience and ends up having trackers and pop-up ads for porn sites and stuff like that. Be very careful.
Oke, kalau nggak ada lagi kita selesaikan saja kalau begitu ya. Udah mulai ngaco nih orang-orang soalnya. Okay, shall we ask for the last round whether they have another questions? Otherwise, we can finish the session. How does it sound?
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's got a
cool.
question.
Okay. Soal infeed, ya tadi udah jawab. So infeed is actually there's nothing we can do because like it seems like it's favorite for the fact checkers here in the country. So
Yeah.
we just wait, right?
Yeah, there's nothing I can do at the moment. I just have to wait for them to get back to me and see if they can find what's possible. What would I suggest in the meantime? For the analysis thing, YouTube data viewer, but like I said, there are possibly faults with that. I will ask around and see if anybody has any other solutions, but I don't know of another tool right now that will do that.
Okay,
so if you have a VPN and set it for somewhere outside Indonesia.
Afwan said that you can still access if you use the VPN and then choose the country in Europe.
Yeah, I was looking at doing a lot of testing and I found that it's not working in Indonesia on my VPN anyway. In Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam, and Thailand, but strangely, it worked perfectly for Malaysia. So maybe set your VPN to Malaysia or something.
Yeah, but Febri also said that we cannot actually recommend the participants to use the VPN during the training. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So YouTube data viewer is like one of the things that we can rely when there's still a problem with the infeed, right?
Before it has a slight problem. It's not a problem that's going to occur all the time, but you know, if somebody uploads a video to YouTube and has it marked as private, and then say a day or a week or a month later changes that to public, then YouTube data viewer thinks that's when it was uploaded. So you need to be careful with the timestamp from YouTube data viewer. It's not something that people are doing very often, but you know, if something can be wrong once, we have to assume it can be wrong every time.
Iya, jadi YouTube data viewer tuh sebenarnya, halo, suara gue bagus nggak? Kalau nggak gue ngetik aja.
I wish
Do
I
you
knew the
have?
answer to Ika's question there, where the discrimination.
Yeah. You know that you get the point. So is there
Yeah,
any explanation why are they are being discriminated to us in Asia?
I believe it's not from Invid's side because they were surprised when I mentioned it to them. So whether there is something with local ISPs that's causing it, maybe, I don't know. But at the moment, the Invid people are looking into it, trying to find out why it's happening. And as soon as I get an answer from them, I'll pass on the answer to you guys. And hopefully we can encourage them to fix it.
Oke, jadi begini Kak ya. Jadi sebenarnya Invidnya juga kaget karena policy ini, kebijakan ini nggak datang dari Invid langsung. Bisa jadi asumsinya adalah ada datang dari local ISP, tapi itu juga masih asumsi karena nggak jelas juga kenapa ini nggak diakses. Nah, itu sedang bekerja untuk mencari tahu kenapa ini tidak bisa digunakan di sejumlah negara di Asia. Dapat solusinya, langsung kabarin ke Owen, nanti Owen akan sampaikan ke kita. Febri said probably like the government's like asking the local ISPs to ban the Invid access, probably.
It's potentially a possibility, and if after Invid's tech people examine their software and think that that's what's happening, hey, then maybe that's a story.
Oke, udah jangan melebar ya. Yang lain, sip. Kalau nggak ada lagi, yang lain ada lagi nggak soal arsip? Balik lagi ke arsip ya. Tapi tadi udah ya, pertanyaannya adalah sampai sekarang berarti selama Invid bermasalah, selama training, balik lagi ke YouTube data viewer. Tapi harus hati-hati karena so YouTube data viewers problem is about the marking time, right?
Yes.
Oke, jadi karena dia pernah kadang-kadang timing di YouTube data viewer tuh suka bisa salah. Nah, itu juga bisa jadi kita harus hati-hati.
Like I said, it's very rare that fault will happen, but you have to always think it's potential.
Oke, walaupun itu jarang banget terjadi kesalahan itu, tapi tetap harus membuat kita harus membuat kita lebih waspada. Untuk pastiin lagi, jangan sampai proses di banking kita malah nggak akurat gitu. So they say, why my voice is getting clear by the end of the session?
I just copied and translated that.
Okay. Is there any update for the tools that? Okay, so they are starting to ask things aside of the archive. I think it's okay, Owen, yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So the other thing is there any update for the tools that we can use to for the Facebook content?
The only updated news last week was bad news that one of the new tools, FB Insight, has disappeared again. That was created by some guys in Vietnam, and it's gone again. Still, the only one that I'm getting good results from really is Intel X, which I have a link to on my website.
Intel X.
Yeah. But FB Insight is gone. That looked quite promising, and it's just disappeared.
Oh, so you just like type Intel and X.
Wait a moment, I'll get you the link. Just a moment.
Okay.
It's not.
Sabar Bang Donald, nanti dicariin ya, lagi diketik, okay?
It's not a very standard link. I'll just get it for you now. And again,
udah ada ya. Oke, cool. Sorry Febri. Intel X ya. Ketahuan deh gue nggak baca training deck. Oke. Oke, cool. Jadi semua udah ada ya, udah ada di trending deck juga. Terus Awan juga udah kasih kita itu URL-nya untuk akses Intel X ya, Bang Donald ya. So you actually regularly update everything from start.me that you own, right? If you
No,
found something, no.
no, I don't.
Oh,
And
enggak.
I think I've told people that a few times. The most regular update I do is a OSINT Essentials
Osin sosial ya, ya. Ya itu
because
Awan.
I stopped using StartMe as my main page because a tech person told me that when you go to a link from that it goes through referral links and there may be trackers and other things on it. So that's why I decided to make a dedicated website instead.
Iya, Jadi jangan lagi pakai start.me ya, karena dia udah sempet tanya ke yang orang yang ngerti teknologi lagi. Ada referral link yang dia takut banget nanti takutnya ke ke tracker. So Afwan is actually following everything, so he already knows the answer. Ya, jadi nanti langsung masuk ke situs yang sudah dibuat sama Owen ya. Udah ada tuh si Afwan udah nulis di dalam chatnya.
Who thinks I'm in Padang?
Ya, he's waiting for you in Padang.
Okay.
Ada lagi nggak kalau nggak ada? Oke, cool. Thank you for the information. Oke, kita bisa selesaikan ya.
I actually may be in Bali in a few weeks.
Oh ya, dia akan ada di Bali karena dia ada. That's the one you mentioned earlier when I was there, right?
Yeah, in Ubud.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Owen. I think this is the time. If you want to have a closing for brief before you close, before we end the session.
So just the usual thing I say, when you go to use these tools, you may find out they don't work exactly like you expect. If you have any questions, message me or ask Ratna or February or somebody who can message me. Please feel free to email me, DM me through the OSINT Essentials Twitter account. Any questions you have. Also, you guys are journalists, you're busy, you may find good ways of using these that I've never even thought of. So if you have any tips for me, I'd be very pleased to get those also. Otherwise, thank you very much. I know it's quite late there. It was great to have all of you together again. And I'll see you next time.
Oke, bye. Makasih semua ya. Nanti akan ada di YouTube. Nanti kita kasih linknya. Oke. Sampai jumpa semua. Bye, Owen. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
To the kids as well.
Okay.
And bye.